Hello, everyone. For some reason, YouTube didn't allow me to do my usual warning about my lack of political correctness before I started the stream, so I'm getting that out of the way first if you're wondering why I'm looking all hunched over. I hope you appreciate this next attempt at making it funny. Alright, now just let me pin it up. There we go. Alright. Whoa, I got a like already. Dang. You guys are something else. Hello there, Redstone. Glad you could make it. How are you doing today? Today is assuming you guys don't have other things interesting to talk about, which if that's the case, then I'm more than happy to deviate from my plan. But today was a very interesting day for my channel. I just completely turned down an opportunity to get bigger. Oh my gosh. I think I made the right call already. If I got 2 likes and I haven't even been streaming for a minute, oh, you guys are great. All right, so before we get started, what's everyone's big news? And I will gladly stop talking if you guys got some good stuff. So first off, I got an interview with the CEO of a company, and it was really hard to understand him because he had a pretty thick accent. So it's possible that I might not entirely be representing everything that he's saying. So make sure to really listen carefully, um, just to make sure that you're not being biased towards me and that I'm giving as much nuance as I can. But based on what I could make out from his accent and sometimes the video stuttering a bit, it seemed like he was saying that I should optimize my current content. And it sounded like a lot of words just to say get better. And then he proceeded to say everything my channel was doing wrong, which already that was a big no-no for me because I'm the type of person that believes that you always want to start with the positive on things. So if someone's YouTube channel is struggling, I think a better thing to do would be to talk about what the YouTuber is doing right and encourage it. So the fact that we're just getting into, oh, your thumbnails, well, he didn't say they stunk, but he just said, oh, your thumbnails could be better. And you need to make audience have better retention past the first 30 seconds. And people's attention spans are just really waning nowadays. And I'm just like, well, first off, I have no artistic ability. I'm pretty sure I've made that very clear throughout these years. You guys should have seen the review I did for Century of Anticipation. That game looks like that game looks like the kind of game that I would have drawn if you had made me the artist. Like that is how good my artist skills are. Um, so making good thumbnails, I just don't think is viable at this point. Just because previously, I would have just asked Isabel to do that, but she's not here anymore. So I guess I'll just have to rely on Google Images. And if someone makes a really good thumbnail and has a problem with me using it, I'll just credit the source in the description. And then he also said that I was lacking a call to action, which, if I have to read between the lines, sorry if the camera's moving around too much, guys. I'm trying to find a comfortable place to sit, so I hope you'll forgive me for that. Um, yeah, he said that I was lacking a call to action, which, if I had to guess what that means, he was probably saying, "Hey, you should ask people to like and subscribe and show that usual graph of only 98% of you watching, or sorry, other way around, only 2% of you watching are subscribed." Like, I don't give a darn whether you're subscribed or not. If you want to unsubscribe to me right now, I don't really care. It's not going to mean a lick of difference to me. I have 6,555 subscribers, give or take. And the views that I get do not even come close to matching that. So, what does that tell you about the loyalty of people? It goes to show you that subscribers do not equal success. And I flat out said, I think having over 6,000 subscribers is a big deal. I don't think that I would consider myself a smaller YouTuber in the slightest. By the way, is this chat working for you guys? Cuz I know that I usually do most of the talking on these, but I just want to make sure that it's letting you guys chat. So if I don't, let's see, what time is it now? 3:20. If I don't hear anything in 5 minutes, I'm going to be mad. Not at you guys. I'll be mad at YouTube. Um what was I saying? Yeah, so I just figure what ended up making him end the interview cuz we were supposed to do it from 12. There we go. Gotcha. No, 3:20 in the afternoon. uh Good to know that the comments are working. Thank you, Redstone. I appreciate you letting me know that. What caused him to end the conversation pretty abruptly, I'm pretty sure at that point he realized I was a lost cause, was he said, "You are the first client," that's what he called me. I'm not the biggest fan of being referred to as a client, "that doesn't want to make money off of YouTube." I also said that I didn't want to be big and famous. I've been big and famous before, and I didn't like it. And personally, what I consider to be a successful video, probably like 300 views is pretty good. And then like maybe 4 likes, I would say is a pretty big success. But even just two is amazing. And I don't get why these people think that they know how to do Paulism better than Paul. Like, I'm the one with the t-shirt, not them. So that's really all I had to say on the matter. I thought I would say a lot more, but I guess like it was only a 15-minute conversation, and I it probably seemed longer just because the person in the email did seem like pretty pushy, like, "Hey, you gotta make sure to do this because we see potential in your channel." And it's like, potential is one thing, but what it's currently doing right is another. All right. I think that's enough of that doom and gloom. But basically, I'm pretty happy with the way my channel's turned out. I think my friend Danielle made a lot of good points the other day when we were on the phone. And she said that she really liked my editing. She really liked the humor that I did and the little skits that I added. Admittedly, she watched the best games video, so um, my reviews don't always have that kind of structure, but she was saying like, "Oh, you know what? Just be true to yourself and do the right thing." And then right before I jumped on this live stream, I talked to another friend and I asked her if she thought I made the right call, and she said, "Yeah, I think you made the right call because most people that offer to help your channels grow bigger are scam artists." So, I'm glad that I hardly took in a word of it. Now, to be fair, if I encountered someone who was willing to be a thumbnail artist, I would gladly hire that person if there's always nuance whenever you're talking to me. If I really got to know that person and that person was proven to be reliable, that I didn't have to send like 3 or 4 different emails just to say, "Yo, have you dropped off the face of the earth? Why are you so quiet?" like, then I could say like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, I'll hire you," but people just don't really want to work for me at the moment, and it's not because they think I'm a bad boss. It's because from what I can reveal about my financial situation, it is interesting to say the least, and that is the main reason why Isabel stepped down. It was not because she didn't like me. It was not because um, she thought I was a bad boss or anything like that. It was because she felt bad taking the money that I had and that she wanted me to spend it on what I really needed. because I did not want Isabel to work for free. And I think for a while I was able to pay her pretty decent money, just not sustainable for an income or for a living type of money. And I think the jobs that she has now are way better. But speaking of Isabel, I do have an announcement to make for you guys that I think will really make you excited. So, oh, hello, Jevil. Punishment time. Good one. Well, if there's a new Pokemon game that still doesn't have voice acting that comes out in 2026, then I'll consider that punishment time. PC gaming, I actually used to be a PC gamer before I was a Nintendo gamer. My very first YouTube video was, or not YouTube video, the very first game I ever played was Putt Putt Joins the Parade on the PC. And I still think that that game is, yes, it's very easy, but it's a great first step into gaming. Like, I would recommend it to anyone who knows how to hold a controller. It's as simple as heck, but it also teaches you the value of hard work and determination with a minimalistic aesthetic. And then I was also a really big fan of like every Humongous Entertainment game. Well, not every game they ever made, because they made a lot of junior arcade and junior sports games. I wasn't too big on those, but I did play all of the junior adventures. So all of the Putt Putt adventures, all the Freddy Fishes, all the Pajama Sams and Spy Foxes. I played every single one of them, and at one point I owned every single one of them. Just they've often been misplaced over the years. I used to own a PlayStation, but I didn't like it very much. I thought it was too clumsy. But yeah, no, the thing about me is the reason why I stick to Nintendo only is there's a couple of reasons. So first off, oh, let me see what Jevil's saying to make sure that's not a spoiler. More info, no new cat. Okay. Well, I didn't actually watch that trailer. Um, how do I word this? I heard that the pre-orders are available now, so that's cool. As long as it doesn't, as long as it doesn't spoil anything, like don't talk about anything going into the first class trial, and everything before that is fair game. Or I should say before the first murder. You can talk about everything up to the first murder. That's my rule. All right. As I was saying, Redstone, the main reason why I stick to Nintendo only, there's two main reasons really. The first is I used to really like Nintendo Power. I was subscribed to them from, I'd like to say, July 2007 all the way to their final issue in December of 2012. And I still have all of those issues that I subscribed to. And there was one point where I binged all of the backlog. And I just remember being so sad that they were gone, especially their reviews. Like, I really loved reading their reviews, even if I thought their Phantom Hourglass review was one of the worst things I'd ever read. And I just said, I really wish that there was some kind of alternative out there. And so I said, well, if no one else will do it, I will. And then the second reason is that Nintendo is the undisputed champion of IPs. Like, say what you will about the exclusives on other systems, but they tend to not have too much of an identity. Whereas, like, you look at Mario and you know what a Mario game is, and you know that you're in for a unique experience that you won't find anywhere else besides maybe Astrobot, but um, I haven't played it. From what I can tell, it looks like a very good Mario-esque platformer. But like Nintendo has so many first party IPs that I just don't see the need to upgrade to the other systems because generally speaking, most of the third party games on the other systems come to Nintendo systems anyway after a certain point. And so I figure, might as well just wait. I mean, take Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was a PlayStation exclusive for 6 years. And it finally came out on the Switch 2, and we got the Intergrade version. So not only do we get the PS5 version, but what was I going to say? We got the PS5 version, but we got the version that was better than the PS4 edition. and it was playable in handheld mode. So we were able to play it wherever we wanted. And that's another thing that turns me off about the other systems is that they're TV only. And I know that there are some concessions to that, like there's the Steam Deck, for example. But from what I can tell, that's like stupidly expensive, and some people have also said it's not quite as good as a Switch. But I like the idea of having a dedicated console handheld hybrid. It's why I love the Wii U so much. Admittedly, I wish that it went further than the same room as the TV, but one thing I learned from Scott the Woz that I thought was super cool is that if you're playing a Wii U game that supports gamepad only, you technically don't need a TV. As long as you have an outlet to plug in the Wii U, you can technically play it anywhere. You just can't take it too far from the console, and that's why I think the Switch is such a big upgrade, because it is the console. Other arcade as a bonus, Boom Rocket Viva. Oh, you know, Viva Pinata, I've heard good things about. I heard that that was made by Rareware, and Grant Kirkhope worked on the soundtrack to that. I never got into it because I didn't really see the appeal, but um, if Grant Kirkhope did the soundtrack, I might try it if it ever becomes a Nintendo game. But yeah, I would be open to playing Steam games if they had some kind of exclusivity hook that made me think this is never going to be playable on consoles. But that argument has been made before, and those people were proven wrong. So, for example, there were a lot of people that said Doki Doki Literature Club would never work on any other consoles. It was my game of the year 2021, and I played the Switch version. So there you go, naysayers. They made it work. I heard people who played it on PC didn't like how it was made, but PC players can also be a bit entitled, I've noticed. Like, they'll often boast that they have the superior machine just because you can do mods. And maybe that's not so much boasting as it is they're just happy that Steam is way less picky than the console manufacturers are. But they're always talking about how high end their PCs are, and like, instead of saying like, well, here's our option, here's what we prefer, and you guys have your options too. It just seems like there's a lot of like insulting the other players. Whereas like, if you guys like the PS5, then good for you. I just don't see the reason to upgrade to that system right now, because the only game that I considered buying a PlayStation 4 for was Final Fantasy VII Remake, and now it's on the Switch too. So at the moment, there are no Sony exclusives that make me say, oh, I just gotta run out and pick one up. Except maybe Astrobot. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that'll come to the Switch one day. Viva. Oh, that's cool that that was your introduction to Rare. Sandbox Pinata game. Oh, okay. I'll have to look into the genre of that. But that's cool that that was your introduction to Rareware. You can probably guess what mine was. My first Rareware game was Banjo Kazooie. I remember I was at. I don't remember whether they were a friend or not, but I remember seeing someone playing Banjo Kazooie on the Nintendo 64, and I'm pretty sure it was Freezy Peak that I was seeing. And I just remember thinking, oh, that game looks amazing. And I don't remember how that conversation came about. But one day I was having a birthday party, and my friend Brittany got me a boxed copy of Banjo Kazooie. Like, yeah, like I said, in the box and everything. And I was hooked from then on out. I liked Banjo Tooie. I didn't like it quite as much as Banjo Kazooie. There was a while where I thought it was the superior game, but now that I look back, Banjo Kazooie is definitely the better one. It's just way more compact. Like, it feels like nearly every single place in the level has something meaningful to do. Like, it doesn't seem like there's really too much filler at all. Whereas Banjo Tooie has long stretches of nothing. Not quite as bad as the original ukulele, but it could feel pretty empty at times. And you needed a cheat code to make Banjo and Kazooie run faster, which Yeah, I'm not a big fan when games don't allow you to just run at top speed. Maybe that's why I love Sonic so much. So, a question for you guys. I want to know. I just lost my train of thought. What would be a super amazing Switch 2 announcement that you just absolutely love to see? I know a lot of people have said Smash. I am of the opinion that if there is another Smash, it's probably going to be like either a Switch 2 edition of Ultimate or they'll have to go in another direction. But I personally don't see that happening. And again, I could be wrong, but I just figure why would they call Ultimate Ultimate if there's going to be a game that's Ultimate Then again, they put at the end of Kirby Air Ride, so maybe. Garden Simulator? Oh, you're saying Viva Pinata. Okay, okay. Viva Pinata felt like a garden simulator. Show Viva Pinata. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, in that case, maybe I wouldn't like it too much because I'm not a big fan of gardening. I'm not a big fan of life sims. I'm honestly kind of surprised I played Animal Crossing. But I think part of the reason why I wanted to review the Switch 2 edition was to go to show that the pandemic kind of like I think it artificially made Animal Crossing seem better than it was. Like, I remember so many people considered New Horizons to be their game of the year in 2020. And I thought to myself, that was only my number 8. What were you guys doing that made you love this so much more than me? And then I would think like, okay, what's your justification for calling that your game of the year? And a lot of them would say at the time it came out, it was so meaningful. And I'd be like, okay, that was then, this is now. What's changed? Because I'm the type of person that doesn't believe you should rank something based on historical significance. I'm a firm believer of once something is outdated, then either get rid of it or preserve it in a museum, but don't force that to be the standard. So that's why it's hard for me to take people seriously when they say stuff like, oh, you got to love Lord of the Rings because Tolkien revolutionized the idea of a fantasy concept. And my brain goes, yeah, but it's been done better. So why not just admit that he's been outdone? Or the same thing with Zelda 1. Like, do you know anyone who likes Zelda 1? That game has one of the most clunky control schemes I have ever seen. And admittedly, most of the people that like Zelda 1 are the people that say, like, it birthed the modern adventure genre. And it was, the first in the Zelda series. And so it has historical significance. But thankfully, modern gamers seem to be realizing, like, yeah, that's not not the best argument. Ty the one up guy. Oh my goodness, never thought I'd see you here. Welcome in, Tyler. Uh I didn't know that you liked Zelda 1. What's your reasoning for that? So guys, Tyler actually has his own YouTube channel, so I hope you will check it out. Does this hyperlink work? I'm going to try that real quick. Um Oh, I better be careful. I don't want to accidentally put timeouts. But yeah, you guys should check him out when you get a chance. How are you doing, Tyler? A remaster of a game you loved and a new game? Good one, Tyler. Very good one. Welcome in. How have you been doing? I heard that you were preparing for your Mario Tennis Fever review. How's that coming along? Oh yeah, I'll shout you out every single day if I have to. In fact, even in this live stream, I had a shout out to you in the description of this video. So when people rewatch it, they can go check out your channel as well. You're it right now? IT right now? Sorry, I'm not really sure what that means. But Tyler, before I forget, I got your t-shirt. I should have worn that today, but I didn't know you were coming. Oh, that stinks. I was really looking forward to the story mode. Oh, that's a bummer. Oh, playing the game right now. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm thinking my rental copy might come today. And so if it does, I'm really hoping you and I can play together because I would love to actually try it with someone other than randos. Jevil, you like a new 2D Kirby game? I'd have to think about that. I remember liking Return to Dreamland Deluxe quite a lot. Oh, I loved the shirt. I even made a whole video about it, but I'm debating if I'm going to put it up just because I'm afraid that I might have done your channel dirty because I am horrible at advertising. I've often said that I would be the world's worst salesman because I tend to just be way too honest for my own good, and I feel like I would I feel like my bumbling manner of speaking about it might make people not want to check out your shop. But I figure maybe in a live stream, people are more generous. So, yes, for those of you that aren't Tyler, he makes his own merch, and it's called Tyler's Extra Life merch. And I bought a t shirt from him that has his channel's avatar on it. And I love it. What I especially love it. Well, thank you, Tyler. I appreciate your patience. Yeah, I'll think about it. I want more people to know how great your I want people to know how great your stuff is, but I want to do it justice. So that's what I got to think about. Kirby Star Allies. I liked Kirby Star Allies. I didn't love it, but I liked the idea of having a bunch of different friends, and I think in concept it was cool. It's just that the AI was just way too good. But then there was Heroes in Another Dimension, which was actually quite fun. Oh yeah, not a problem, Tyler. If there's anything else I can do to promote your channel, just let me know and I will do what I can. So, I gotta ask, in Mario Tennis Fever, does Kevin Afghani do a good job? Because this is his first tennis game, and it's also the debut of Baby Waluigi. So, does he nail it? Or do you think Charles would have done a better job playing Baby Waluigi? Oh, and Tyler, since you're new here, I just want to give you a heads up. Um, Everyone that's a veteran of this channel knows that water is my life energy. So as soon as this thing runs out, I run out. So you can use that as like my tired meter. Oh, okay. Reusing voice lines, that's they did that with Charles though, so I'm starting to wonder. No pun intended. I'm starting to wonder if they're already realizing that recasting Kevin was a mistake. Well, that's good that he nails Baby Waluigi. That is really, really great. That is amazing. Speaking of Mario Wonder, I do plan on renting the Switch 2 version because Switch 2 editions are rentable. I don't know if you knew that, but that's how I played Star-Crossed World. I just rented the DLC because the way Switch 2 editions work is they're basically like Switch 1 cards, but with the DLC already on it. So I just had my save data of Forgotten Land, put in the Switch 2 version, and it registered that. And so I just played the new levels, and that's how I was able to review it. So that's probably how I'll do Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition. The problem is that GameFly is hit or miss with how long it takes them for their games to arrive. Case in point, I thought to myself, it's going to take forever before I can rent Little Gator Game. I think I'll just go ahead and buy the DLC for it. And the very same day that I bought the DLC was when the physical version came available for rental. And I said, you got to be kidding me. So sometimes they take a while. They still haven't put up what's it called? They haven't put up Tomodachi Life and they haven't put up Mario Wonder. But I figure it took them a really long time to put up Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they eventually did. So they'll come at some point. You have an addiction, Jevil. Oh no. Clover Pit. Okay. I'm not much of a fan of gambling, so I'm glad that you're able to not spend real money on it, put it that way. What are my thoughts on the halftime at the Super Bowl? Welcome in, Kevin the Conservative, first of all. Um, Sorry, I'm not too good at names yet. I know Redstone Tech, Jevil, and Tyler, but I don't think I know you. I don't watch sports, so I literally have no clue what happened at the Super Bowl. I heard that they spoiled the Mario movie, though, so don't mention anything about that. I'm trying to go in as blind as possible to the new Mario movie. I'm already mad at the little bit that YouTubers have shown because I wanted to go in knowing absolutely nothing. Um, Pretty sure I went into the first Mario movie not knowing too much either, and I was happy about that. But I do remember one thing is that my brother Michael used to really love playing backyard football on the PC, and Godzilla and Blade. Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. My brother Michael used to really love this game called Backyard Football, and it was basically like so all of the backyard sports games were these PC games that would put like famous sports players and reimagine them as children. And then they had like their own cast of original characters as well. And so you'd pick a team and then you'd pick like these child friendly areas to play sports in, like a parking lot or the park, places that kids would spend time at. And like the power ups were all kidified. Like instead of a power meter, you'd have a juice box meter, and all the characters were fully voiced, which is a rarity for '90s games. And they had live commentary for the football game too, and it was not my kind of game, but it was fun to watch, especially because sometimes my brother and I would take our toys, and we would like pretend that each of the characters were our toys, and then we'd like add our own commentary to it. Not even half of 30 seconds? That's still more than enough for me. Like, if I were able to go back in time and make it so that I had as minimal spoilers as possible for, what's it called? As minimal spoilers as possible for the Mario movie, I would have just said that teaser trailer that first announced it would have been enough for me, and I didn't want to know anything else. Well, okay, there is one thing I want to know. So, oh, the talking flower doesn't stop talking. I do actually really like the talking flower, so thank you for letting me know that, Tyler. Um, One thing I'm curious about is it seems like they re-recorded all of the talking flowers lines in the Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition. So is that actually true? Like, did Patrick Seitz literally re-record everything so that they could erase um, what's his name, Mick Wingert from existence? That'd be wild. I don't know, Jevil. I consider trailers to be spoilers when it comes to movies. Video games, a little bit different, but movies, it's just like all I need is the premise and I'm sold. A Luigi's Mansion film, that would be very cool. I would really like that a lot. Yeah, that is bizarre. I think Patrick Seitz does a pretty good job of imitating Mick Wingert, but at the same time, like I 100% in Mario Wonder, which I don't really 100% games all that much. That goes to show you how much I love it. And I think I got a pretty good memory of what most of Mick Wingert's lines sounded like, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to tell if they're altered when I play the Switch 2 edition. But it makes me wonder, like, did they remove it from the Switch 1 version as well? That might be something to check out if you, because I only rented Mario Wonder, I don't own it. And Tyler, I really appreciate that in your YouTube video all about it, that you that you called me out there in that video saying like that you should rent it from Gamefly. That meant so much to me. I don't think you'll ever know how happy I was when I saw that. Just beat Pokemon Legends ZA. Oh, yeah, I'm not a Pokemon fan in the slightest. I play some of the spin-offs, but they've never been good enough to make it into my top 10. Detective Pikachu Returns was the closest. It was number 11 when I was making my best games of 2023, but what ended up beating it out? Sonic Superstars ended up beating it out because I'm a big fan of classic Sonic. Um, I think there's only a handful of Sonic games I haven't played of the classics. There's a lot of 3D games I haven't played much of. You gotta go? Oh, thank you so much, Tyler. I really appreciate you dropping in. And again, guys, please check out Tyler's channel. In my opinion, he's a way better YouTuber than me. But my therapist has been telling me to lean on my own strengths. So I will I will accept that there are certain things I do my way, certain things he does his way. So maybe check out both of our channels. All right, let's see. Well, my opinion on spoilers is very different from movies than it is from video games, Jevil, so that's totally open for debate. If what you consider a spoiler for a movie is not for me, but I personally just don't want to know anything about it because the big thing for me when I watched the first Mario movie was the surprises. Just being like, oh, I never would have expected that to show up. So if I'm not surprised, then that kind of ruins it. I'm pretty sure I hit it earlier. Pretty intriguing title. What fame and fortune did I turn down? Ooh, good question, Shorts. Um, all right. Well, first off, let me answer the questions below you because that'll not take as long to answer. Have I played Sonic Racing Crossroads? Yes, both the Switch 1 and Switch 2 versions. You can check out my reviews of both. Sonic Racing Crossroads also was my number 7 game of 2025, so check out my top 10 most epic Switch and Switch 2 games of 2025 if you want to hear me just absolutely gushing about Joker being in it and everything else. Anyway, to answer your question, Shorts, so what happened was I had an interview this morning with someone who was the CEO of, I honestly forgot his title. I'm not the type of person that thinks too much about people's credentials unless I'm asking for advice. So like you could be an average Joe, but I'll respect you if you have good advice. And he said like, "Hey, we find that your channel has promise and we are thinking of showing you our proven strategy that will help you make more money," which I don't make money on this channel at all. And he also said, "Hey, we will help you to optimize your content." So I said, well, in the Catholic Church, we want to be open to other people's ideas. We don't want to be arrogant and think that we know it all. So I said to myself, well, it's a 15-minute interview. I'll hear him out. And he started out pretty friendly. Like, he smiled, he asked how I was, but then like all I could say was fine before he jumped right into what sounded like a lot of PR talk. And then again, assuming that I understood his accent correctly, uh, he basically said that the biggest problems with my channel were the thumbnails weren't great, but I'm a terrible artist and people don't want to work for me at this point. So I really can't hire anyone to do thumbnails. So I've literally been relying on Google Images for almost the entirety of my channel's history. And I think it worked all right for the type of views I was expecting at the time. There was a time when I asked Isabel to make thumbnails for me, and those videos for the most part have done great, but she has since left the quality assurance assistant position. So my thumbnails have just gone back to Google Images, but if there's someone who is willing to work for very cheap, I will consider hiring that person. But most people that have tried to ask for help with thumbnails are very forgetful, and so I generally don't like hiring people that can't be prompt. Like, I'm the type of person where if someone sends me a text asking a question, I will usually get back to that person like almost immediately. And especially if you're like commissioned to do something, I want a snappy response. And i- it's been hard to find people who are able to do that. And I don't want to be judgmental. Like maybe they have busy lives, maybe they have technical inexpertise. But anyway, getting back to that conversation, then he also said um, that I needed to hook people within the first 30 seconds because he said, "Oh, people's attention spans are waning, so you gotta." Oh, hold on a sec, guys. I gotta plug in my computer because it looks like it's about to die. I keep forgetting that I have headphones in, so I can just keep talking. But you won't be seeing me for a while, but you'll still be hearing me. Anyway, um, so yeah, he said like you gotta hook people within the first 30 seconds, and so I was thinking, you know what? People are gonna know if they like a video or not by actually watching the video. And if I have to pander to an audience that can't like do the research on how to get a better attention span, then those aren't the kind of people I want on my channel to begin with. If I have to go out of my way to be someone that I'm not just for the sake of appealing to an audience that can't pay attention, then it's not worth the trouble, honestly. And then he said I was lacking a call to action, which I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I'm pretty sure it means you got to do that annoying spiel at the end where you say, "Oh, make sure you like and subscribe," and all that nonsense. I can't stand that. I absolutely cannot stand it when people ask to like and subscribe. In fact, I have this personal goal that I will never like a video that someone makes if they say like and subscribe. Except for the Wii viewer, because he was the main inspiration for my reviews. Like if you watch a lot of his reviews and you watch a lot of mine, you'll notice that they have a somewhat similar style of writing. There's just one difference between him and me that I think makes my reviews stand out from his. And that's that my reviews are unscripted, like 100% unscripted. I think there was only like 2 reviews I ever did where I wrote a script, but even then I improv'd a lot of it. Whereas he does write a script for his reviews. I think he's gone on record saying that the only review he ever did improv was his first one, and he regretted it, and he's scripted every single one since then. But I guess I'm the type of person that's really good at recalling notes in my head, and so, like, I'll think of a script, and then I'll, like, say it, but then I'll also improv along the way. I'm a very journey over the destination type of person, if you haven't figured that out yet. Um, so yeah, and then he kept asking, like, "Oh, do you wanna make money?" And I just said, like, "I'm not interested in making money off of YouTube." And then he said, like, "Well, if you take our strategy, then you can." He said, "If you take our strategy, you can get 300 to 500 more, or what was it, 3 to 5 times more views, and you can get, like, thousands of people." And I said, "I don't want thousands of people. I've been famous before." I won't mention why, just in case you guys are new here, because I've vowed to never talk about that moment again. But there was one time where my channel was really popular, and I did not like how people treated me during that time. So I just said, I never, ever, ever want to get to that point again. So I've taken steps to make sure that I have a small but dedicated group of fans. And if if my friends are any indication, then I think my channel is perfect just the way it is. Because Tyler came in earlier today, as you guys all saw. You can easily scroll up if you forgot. And he said, "You're doing great. Keep it up." Tyler's a friend of mine. If he says that, then that means really good things. Because, like I said, I personally think he's a much better YouTuber. Please tell us what happened. What? When I became famous? Uh, oh. I'll give you the abridged version. How about that? Let me respond to Jevels first, just to make sure that I don't want him to think I forgot. You like my video? Just oh, good, Jevel. I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy. Okay, I did know about Yoshi, but to be fair, that was already teased in the first Mario movie, so that's not really much of a spoiler. I just don't want to know what he sounds like. I don't want to know what he does. I want to go in being like, okay, Yoshi's in it. End of story. The end. All right, before I get into what happened, I first want to ask Shorts, did I answer your question about the interview? Because if I didn't, then please let me know what I can be more clear on, and I'll tell the rest of the story. Because I just want to be full transparency right now on this, guys. I just want to get it out there that I'm not interested in being famous. I'm not interested in being a celebrity. I'm interested in being just Paul, 100%. Good. Oh, thank you, Shorts. I really appreciate it. All right, guys. Time for my little soapbox here. I have made a video on the subject, so you can go watch that video if you want the full story, but the Cliff Notes version is that someone took a screenshot of one of my videos out of context. And at the time that that video came out, and again, I'm not going to name it, but at the time that that video came out, it only had 48 views, and it had been out for 7 years, and it only accumulated 48 views during that time. But because someone, like, made an out of context post saying, "Look how funny this is," it became viral, and it actually caused me to go from 1,000, actually, I think I went from 700 subscribers all the way up to, like, 6,000 in the span of, I'd like to say, 2 years. And my inbox was just absolutely flooded with some of the most boring and predictable comments I've ever heard on my channel. I got a lot of people, all they would write was just W. And then I'd write back, what do you mean by that? They'd never answer. I'd get a lot of people saying based. And then I'd say, based on what? And they wouldn't answer. Or I got people saying, like, this is literally the greatest piece of entertainment that's ever been made. And I said, even better than Scott the Woz? Are you kidding me? Never answered. And it got to be so bad that I would, like, be up for hours just trying to respond to all these samey comments that I finally made a pinned comment saying, please say something intelligent because because I do not like responding to all this spam. And they didn't listen. So then I made another pinned comment saying, because you guys didn't listen, now I'm going to put all the comments on hold. And then people got mad at me for doing that. And so after I put the pinned comments on hold, then people started to be a bit better. And I got messages, even from atheists, saying, like, hey, I learned a lot, and I'm sorry that people haven't been treating you great. But here's the thing, they were treating me great. It just was the kind of, like, it wasn't thoughtful great. It was like, oh, just type in the letter W and that's it, instead of this meaningful, heartfelt, like what I'm having with you guys right now, that I can just talk to you. It didn't feel like that. It felt like there were a lot of comments that would say things like, oh, hey, I came here because of the meme. And then that would be it. And I'd be like, okay, what do you think of everything else? Never responded. That was another big thing. They wouldn't respond when I would try to engage them in discussion. So then I made a poll asking people what they wanted me to do, saying that I've just been so grieved by the lack of personality and how I've been objectively improving my content since then. I got my videos to be um, I got my I got a capture card that can capture in 1080p. Technically, it can do 4K, but the way that my setup works, just doesn't work. And then my editing software literally takes 24 hours to process 4K footage. So that's why you only see my videos in 1080p. And then and then I and then I learned how to edit out all my ums and uhs and when I coughed or sniffed. I stopped saying so much. Like I would say like so, and then like I would click my lips in this really annoying way. And so literally my newer videos, I put so much time and effort into improving. But this memed video went from 48 views to over 50,000 because of that one meme. And I was just like, why don't you guys watch other things? And then at first, I was like, oh, okay, this is neat that people like this. So I started making other videos that were similar, but no one would watch those. And then people would complain, why the heck are you taking this down? This is like a time capsule of YouTube history. And I said, I don't give a darn about YouTube history. I'm just me. Yeah, it might have been bullying, Kevin. They wouldn't have said it was bullying. They would have said, Paul, people love you. You're this amazing, awesome celebrity. And my response to that is, have you ever heard of celebrities trying to avoid the paparazzi? That's what it felt like. And so I finally deleted that video. And I didn't just unlist it, I privated it. I still have it just in case I find something creative to do with it. But I just said, I don't like that kind of fame and glory. I'd be happy enough if my videos get maybe like 300 views and 4 likes. I think I would consider that to be a success. But if it's more than that and people are willing to engage in like meaningful discussions, or even if they just click the like button, like that would be cool. But to have like just the overwhelming amount of contents on that one video alone is just not cool. So I have literally gone out of I even created an Instagram account just so that I could go to the sites of the people that made the meme and say, stop it. This is annoying. Cut it out. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. So I just I just said I want to be just a normal guy. And I yes, I would like you guys to like my stuff. That would be nice, but more than anything, I just want to be able to talk casually. Like when Tyler and I met, both of us were big fans of each other's channels at the time. And I don't think either of us treated the other person like a celebrity. Like, obviously, we'd say we liked each other's stuff and we'd talk about it. But for the most part, we talked just like casual fans. And I just didn't get any of that during the time when I was famous. Anyway, sorry about that, Jevil. That's cool. That's cool that Brian Beacock is still in there. I really hope they get the whole cast to reprise their roles. The actors of the Little Rascals? Oh, that's neat. That's neat. It's good to know that one of them is Catholic. Six oh, uh I've heard that 6'7" was pretty inappropriate. So I do hope that doesn't get too widespread. Unfortunately, when I think of 67, I think of Virtue's Last Reward. And I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, Jevil, but don't say what I mean because that's a bit of a late game moment. But if you know, you know. Anyway, does that answer your question, Kevin? If I'm unclear on anything, well, again, I'm being vague on purpose, but did I at least somewhat answer your question? But yeah, I think people just don't get my mindset of Paulism, Paulism first. It's all about Paulism. It's all about authenticity. It's all about doing God's will. I mean, the back of this t-shirt is all about mission trip stories, which unfortunately you guys can't see it from here, but this shirt is like it epitomizes everything I want to do is be myself and tell stories. And whenever I review video games, I usually try to add some kind of a storytelling aspect to it. Like I try to say like, "Oh, I remember way back when I played this game and that reminds me of this." Like you get to have more of a grasp of my personal life. And my real life friends have often said that they really like my videos where I like describe things that I went to. Like they'll say, "Paul, you're so good at describing details that it feels like we're right there with you." I appreciate the sympathy, Kevin. I really do. That means a lot to me. Because you'd be surprised how many people were like really angry by my decision. And there was one person who even like stopped talking to me just because I requested that that person like reach out to the memer and say to stop it. Now, to be fair, the person who started the meme has since apologized, But then there were others that would like respread it, and those were the people that I made an undercover Instagram account to say like, cut it out. I don't want all that fame. And if I do get all the fame, I want intelligent, thoughtful uh, conversations that I can feel like I'm talking to a friend, not just another fan. And that's why when I went to Comic Con to make sure that I wasn't a hypocrite, I tried really hard to make the celebrities that I met feel like they were talking to just another guy. So, like, when I met Todd Haberkorn, for example, which I know, Jevil, that you're probably super happy about that because Todd Haberkorn was in the original Goodbye Despair. Um, we started out our talk just by talking about the weather. And I know that seems so boring and surface level, but I wanted to set the stage of what kind of a fan I was of his, that I wasn't going to like treat him like he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. That I wanted to say like, "Hey, I just want to have a casual conversation with you." And he ended up being my favorite celebrity that I met that year. I might even go so far as to say I might have liked meeting him better than any other celebrity. Like, I know they're all different, and I don't wanna say, like, one was better than the other, but, like, there was something about Todd that you probably wouldn't have even known that he was a celebrity if you didn't know his name. Like, he gave this aura of just very, very casual, and I just said, like, "That's the kinda aura I wanna give." Like, if someone were to ever ask me in these live streams, "Paul, would you ever want a booth at Comic Con?" I would say, "Oh, heck yeah." But I would want to have a moderator that would say, like, "Paul doesn't wanna be famous on the level of a celebrity. He just wants to engage with his fans and have a good chat. So make sure that you don't do a bunch of fanboying or fangirling. You can get a picture if you want, but don't spread it on social media. Like, just really set expectations for the kind of simple, easygoing. I wouldn't say I'm easygoing. Scratch that. A very simple, play it by day life that I have. Does that make any sense, guys? I'm a bit nervous right now, so I might have rambled a bit, but yeah, that's how I took it. Get my perspective when someone edited me. No, actually, Jevil, there was one person that um there was one person that did actually make a thumbnail of that out of context screenshot and like redrew me so that I looked like someone from Fire Emblem Engage. That I thought was cool. But that was, like, the only thing that I thought was cool from that entire ordeal. Like, sure, I got a handful of people that, like, reached out and said, like, "Hey, this meant a lot to me," but then I ended up saying, like, "You guys are only, like, maybe 3% of the comments that I've gotten." So all in all, the conversation was, a big waste of time. The conversation with the guy that I talked to earlier today. Because I got the impression that he didn't really want to establish a connection or view me personally. Like, maybe that's how it came across at first, and maybe I just couldn't understand because the accent was thick. But, like, he said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I said, "Great, how are you?" And then he said, "Great," and then just launched right into the PR. I was kind of hoping we could talk about video games or, like, I don't know, share who our favorite fighter in Smash was, and it just got right into, "This is what your channel's doing wrong, and these are all the different ways we can improve you." Yes, exactly, Kevin. If there's one thing that I will never be good at in my life is business or advertising or drawing. Like, any of those 3 are, like, my big weaknesses. I've often been told that, I am the worst salesman ever, and I fully accept that mantle. I am the type of person that says it like it is, and if someone were to ever send me a review code for a video game, I would trash it if I ended up not liking it or just not finish it. I have actually gotten a review code for a game before. Um, I didn't end up reviewing it just because I couldn't finish it, and my rule for reviewing video games is I have to beat it before I review it. Um, but I did, talk about how happy I was that he sent me the code in a video, I think it was, like, my best memories of 2022, where I showed footage of the game and I said, like, "Hey, I may not have liked the game that much, but I'm beyond grateful that you sent me the code." And then I'm not allowed to say too much at the moment, but I have actually had another developer recently reach out to me, and he said, "I will send you a code if my game ever comes to Switch." I can't say anything more about that. I didn't sign an NDA or something, but I can read between the lines. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a top secret project. If I have fans that are excited to meet you. No, I get it. I get it. Like, the way that I met my friend Danielle was a fangirling moment. She, um, she had known me from a Facebook page that I used to be the admin of, and our very first interaction was her running through the doors and saying, "Oh my gosh, Paul, I know you. You're the guy that makes all those inspiring posts all about being a good." What? I'm trying to be vague on purpose about the next thing she said because I don't want to give away exactly what I was doing. But she was, like, inspired by what I was posting in that group, and that turned into one of my best friendships, actually, because we still keep in touch to this day, and she actually was talking on the phone with me yesterday and was giving me advice about, what I should keep doing on my channel. So, in my opinion, I feel like I want to take her advice way more than I want to take anyone else's because she started out with encouragement, and in fact, I'm pretty sure she said nothing but encouragement. The only negative thing she said was that my videos have improved. She's like, "Yeah, your old videos weren't as good, but that's good that you've learned how to improve from your mistakes." So, like, lots and lots of positivity, and that really made me feel good, especially because she and her husband really like to watch my best games and my best memories videos, and they give, like, round of applauses, and they'll, like, go in depth about, like, every single part of the video that they really liked, and they'll say why they liked it. And I told myself that going forward, I'm going to treat every single like as though it's the two of them clapping. So if I get like two likes, then that'll be four people clapping and saying, "Oh my gosh, it was great. And here's why." Even if they don't write it in the comment section. If I get like three likes, and that's six people. So I essentially double the amount of people with every like. So if I get like 14 likes, that's what, 28 people? That's a lot of people to be applauding. Um, Ready Player One? I don't remember if I watched Ready Player One. I watched, something that was kinda like that. Would you care to tell me about it? No, that's okay, Jevil. I know that, how do I word this? When I started my YouTube channel, I honestly had no clue that I would get the number of people following it as it would. Like, I think I expected to have maybe, like, 100 followers when I first started YouTube. And I originally intended it to just be for, like I intended it to be on the younger side. I didn't want it to be exclusive to any age, but I had, like, been chaperoning, stuff for high schoolers, and when I was on those conferences and I was, like, teaching and giving speeches, the high schoolers would really like what I had to say, and so I said, "Well, I wanna keep that enthusiasm, and I wanna, like, make people excited to hear that stuff again. But now I want more people to hear about it than just the people on the conferences." So I thought, oh, well, when I was at these conferences, I'd have a handful of people that would come up to me and say it was great and all that. And I was kind of hoping that that would be like the standard. And then over time, I just got better, I guess. But yeah, I never expected people to treat me like a celebrity. I expected that I was just an ordinary guy that expressed his thoughts, and that's why on a lot of my reviews, I don't actually highly edit the footage. I edit it enough where, like, if you were to do a Let's Play, you'd be able to tell the difference. Like, for example, in my Final Fantasy VII Remake review, there were a lot of tutorials, and I edited out all of them because I thought, "Nah, that's not gonna be entertaining." Or, like, if the characters were talking or if there was a loading screen, I edited all that out. But for the most part, it felt more or less like a Let's Play. Because again, I just wanted it to feel like I was just casually talking. If I was at, oh, 20,000, no way. Oh, that sounds terrible. Um, at this point, I don't even have a girlfriend, so I don't really think I can be talking about kids at this point. I do have nieces and nephews, though, which I consider part-time kids because they require a lot of my attention whenever I do spend time with them. Um, I am. You must be new to this channel, Kevin, because I made a video called "The Catholic Gaming Nerd Ain't Going Nowhere," and I told everyone that I was planning on being the world's longest-running YouTuber. And I plan on continuing YouTubing until I drop dead. And if having a kid or having a girlfriend is going to get in the way of that, then I'm just going to say, I don't want to date you if you're going to stop me from being the world's longest running YouTuber. I don't want to have kids if that's going to get in the way of my videos. To me, expressing my thoughts and teaching people about God is like my calling in life, my deepest calling. Sure, I may not explicitly talk about God in every single video I make nowadays, but there's little tiny hints of it if you know where to look. Like in Little Gator Game, I talked like not Little Gator Game, the In the Dark DLC that I just put out yesterday. I talked about the value of not getting angry at everyone, and that's like a little hint at how one of the deadly sins is pride, or not pride, wrath. Pride is another deadly sin. Would I want kids at the moment? No, but I'm open to the possibility if I hear God calling me. I just haven't heard him calling me at this point. I had a girlfriend for a while actually. Um, then that didn't work out. I won't say what happened. That's more for my Facebook friends. But I still have videos of her up just because I thought she had some good points back in those videos, and I didn't want people to say like, "Oh, just because you're not dating her anymore means you're completely disregarding everything good she ever did." And she and I are still friends. We don't talk much, but when we do, it's always nice and civil. We're just not romantic anymore, and that's cool. I have since come to the realization that I would have been miserable if I had stuck it through with her. So we've reconciled that, and she said she's sorry for everything she did in the relationship, and I don't really feel any kind of negative emotion toward her anymore besides I wish we could talk more, but at the same time, like, I appreciate the good times we had in the relationship, but I'm ready to move on. I'm glad I was able to help you with the Zero Escape puzzles, Jevil. Wait, are you talking about the novelization? 'Cause I actually did, give some of the solutions to the puzzles in, my Zero Escape novelization. If anyone's interested, it's called Zero Time Dilemma Sigma's Story. It's on Archive of Our Own, and it's free. So if you want, like, the closest thing you're gonna get to a director's cut of Zero Time Dilemma, the only thing stopping you is hard drive space. So let me write that down just in case you guys forgot. It's free, no catches. But I will say that it is designed primarily for people that have already played the series. I think it's newbie friendly enough because my friend Teresa read it before she knew about the other games in the series, and I think she understood it well enough. But it opens up literally by spoiling the ending of Virtue's Last Reward, so be warned. Sorry the two of us broke up. Hey, thanks for showing up, Kevin. I hope you stick around, and if not, I hope that this was a good impression for you. You have a great rest of your day. Alright, my life energy is almost running out, guys, so, make sure not to ask too involved of questions. But yeah, what inspired me to write, the walkthroughs for Zero Escape was, I had written Sigma's story, and I read it, or no, I wrote a walkthrough for Zero Time Dilemma, and I read it to my girlfriend at the time, and she said, "Well, this is a walkthrough of the 3rd game. Why don't you have walkthroughs of the other 2?" And I said, "Oh, that might be pretty hard." And she said, "I would really love to hear what happened in the other 2 games." So because of her encouragement, I went ahead and I did make walkthroughs of the other 2 games. I didn't make novelizations of them, but the main reason why I did a novelization of Zero Time Dilemma and not the other 2 games was because that's the most impersonal game in the series. And I also know that a lot of people were not impressed with the fact that, it went through, quote, "development hell," and so there were a lot of things that fans thought were a result of troubled development. And so I said, I want this to feel like the version of Zero Time Dilemma that Uchikoshi would have made if he hadn't have had those troubles, while not trying to add anything that I didn't think he would naturally say. So, for example, I didn't want to just add something with my personal wishes of like what I wanted the game to be. I combed through, I think it was at least like 3 or 4 different interviews that he did where I just like people would ask him questions about the series and he would say like, "Yeah, I think that would be a suitable answer." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to make that canon because he said it." And I looked through like all the behind the scenes information, and I even looked at things that he hinted at, saying like, "Ooh, I wish that this would happen, but we need to make sure we have the budget." And I'd say like, "Well, now you have the budget." Uchikoshi has stated, Jevel, that he's open to the possibility of a Zero Escape 4. I just don't really see it happening just because of how Zero Time Dilemma almost didn't happen. It's been 10 years, that's another thing. And Spike Chunsoft has since merged with Tukio Games, and Uchikoshi is a part of that. And he recently worked on 100 Line Last Defense Academy, which, if you know anything about that game, is that it has 100 endings. Now, I've heard mixed opinions on how much Uchikoshi was involved in it. I heard that he wrote 99 out of the 100 endings. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like he kind of needs to take a break if that was the last game he worked on. Because if you know anything about 100 Line, is that it feels like a Danganronpa game at first, but then after you get the second ending and beyond, then it starts feeling like a Zero Escape game. And at that point, it became super obvious that Uchikoshi was involved. And that's all I'm going to say in case you haven't played it. But yeah, no, I would love a Zero Escape 4. I would probably buy it day one. And normally I'm a renter, not a buyer, but I absolutely would do it if there was another Zero Escape. There is a game that the Danganronpa creator made called Shoot in Order that I plan on renting it once it gets a physical version. Um, and as far as other games that Uchikoshi's made that are Zero Escape-esque, AI The Somnium Files, the first game was directed and written by him. The second game was written by him but not directed. The third game, he was only a supervisor. So I would say the first 2 Somnium Files games are probably the closest you're ever gonna get to an unofficial Zero Escape 4. Nirvana Initiative even, like, has a lot of blatant Zero Escape references in it. Like, even the post game is just a love letter to Zero Escape, and oh my gosh, that's the main reason why it was number 1 on my best games of 2022 list. Unfortunately, No Sleep for Kaname Date was a major flop, in my opinion. Like I said, Uchikoshi was only a supervisor, and boy could you tell, because it had none of the charm of his work. It just did not feel like he was involved in it at all. Although I did really like the fact that it had a lot, like, not as much as Nirvana Initiative, but it had a decent amount of Zero Escape references. Heck, the screen where you like combine items and the sound effects made for the items are literally ripped straight from 999, which I thought that was a cool touch. And the game even starts out by saying Team Zero Escape presents. It's just a shame they didn't do anything more with that concept. Alrighty. Well, guys, this has been actually pretty great. Oh, man. Oh, I gotta stretch. I really appreciated um, World End Club used to sound from Danganronpa. That's cool. I did not like World End Club all that much. I think it was my number two worst game of when did it come out? I think it was 2021. Yeah. I thought that that was one of the most terribly optimized platformers I had ever played. It was like playing Ice Climber again. It was so bad. I liked the story. I did think the story was cute, and Uchikoshi did work on that one, and you could tell it had his signature style of writing. What was I gonna say? But yeah, if there's one game that desperately needs a remake, it's World's End Club. All right, there goes my water. I'm gonna call it here, guys. Before I head out, was there anything else you guys wanted to ask? Guess not. All right. Well, thanks for coming, Jevil. Let's see who else was here. May not be here, but you can always watch the video on demand. Oh, thank you for showing up, Susie. Sorry you had to come near the end, but hey, if you were watching it behind the scenes, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jevil. Thank you, Kevin. I know Tyler was here earlier, so thank you, Tyler, and thank you, Redstone Tech and Shorts 528. Thank you for you as well. Pretty sure that's everyone. I said Kevin already. Yep, I think that's everyone. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.